Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is part 4 of What If Hinata was a yandere for Naruto. If you guys enjoy this what if, then comment, like and subscribe. Let's go. Also the video goal is 10 likes, so let me know that you're interested in the series and you want the next part. Then go ahead and check out the other what ifs in the channel. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and leave, also share the video with your friends and link in the description. So let's go. Her body tosses and turns. Orochimaru's eyes follow her with slow, predatory interest. White to silver snakes slither out from his sleeves, block Shizune from getting any closer. Kabuto hovers close to her, Shizune sidestepping him and his array of scalpels and needles. Tsunade glares right back at Orochimaru. If you think fear alone will make me hear you out. Orochimaru steps forward with measured grace, golden eyes gleaming in the dark. Oh Tsunade, I never needed your fear. Only your grief. Her breath hitches. Two bodies bubble up from the puddles of blood beside him, fingers running across their chins. Amber eyes widen, taking them in, Dan's bright smile and white locks, Naoki's ruddy cheeks. So happy. Alive. Orochimaru smiles. Dan. Naoki. How long will you keep pretending you've truly healed? Moved on. Her eyes narrow, rubs at them and sees the true mottled gray of their skin, purple and black rivers where their veins would normally run. You think dangling their names in front of me will sway me? She tightens her fists to stop their shaking, hard enough for them to whiten, for her knuckles to crack out in the quiet. It already has. Your resolve is trembling, your chakra is unstable. I can practically smell the fear coming off of you in waves. Tsunade. Orochimaru muses softly. Her heartbeat thuds painfully in her ears as Orochimaru stretches a hand out to her. Heal my arms for me, Tsunade, and I can bring back all the loved ones you've lost. Dan and Naoki nod beside him, hold out their arms. Tsunade. We want to be with you again, be a family. They speak in unison. Tsunade rolls her shoulders, purses her lips as Shizune shouts to ignore his promises. Kabuto smirks as she walks forward. Her fingers curl around Orochimaru's wrist, crushing it until rivulets of crimson run under her hands. Tsunade's voice drops to a deadly whisper. Don't ever use their names or bodies again in my presence. Dan and Naoki's bodies crumple and the ground beneath them cracks, Orochimaru scoffing as they both tumble for the dark. Stop making things so difficult, Tsunade. An arm roughly shakes at her. My lady, please get up. We have a guest at the door. Tsunade blinks, squints at warm yellow and pink rays of light tumbling across the bed. She wipes a trail of drool from her cheek, winces as she moves to a standing position. Her neck cracks when she rolls it, every joint throbbing from her awkward sleeping position, room spinning. A white fuzz creeps along the edge of her now interrupted dream. Last night's sake and edamame are still on her tongue, now sour and dry, dull thrum of a headache coming. It smells of soup, onigiri, and various fruits in the air, Shizune blurring in and out of focus. She sighs, takes her by the hand, guiding her to sit at the nearest table. This is why I said to get proper food in your system yesterday, my lady. You probably haven't had a good meal since before we arrived at Kazunonsen. This hangover is going to be worse than your usual ones. Tsunade grunts in response. It's not that late in the day, is it? Shizune looks away from her for a moment to outside. It's already a little past noon. Why was I sleeping against the side of the bed again? Tsunade rubs at her head. Memories from last night crawl back up. Jiraiya and those brought to encountering Orochimaru. All that blood. She straightens herself, pauses at finally seeing opalescent eyes across from her at the table. Hinata. A scowl instantly twists at her lips, Shizune holding up her hands quickly with a sheepish grin when Tsunade sends her a look. Why the hell is she here? I couldn't say no. Look, she brought such a wide variety of foods, including our favorites. Shizune nods to bowls of brown rice, fish, natto, and nori. Hinata smiles thankfully, waves up a hand. It was no problem at all for an old teammate, friend of Jiraiya. Tsunade notes then the dreamy look in Shizune's features, no hints of distress or worry. Was she drugged? She scours Hinata's hands and attire for any vials, though it would be silly to keep evidence on her. If she did something, it was while she was still out cold. Jiraiya's words flash to mind. You'll see eventually what Hinata is willing to do for Naruto. For herself. Hinata's gaze switches to Tsunade curiously. You keep up with that youthful jutsu even when sleeping. Doesn't that drain your chakra? Tsunade sighs, leans back in her chair as Shizune saunters into the next room to give them space. Her eyes narrow as she watches her gate for any balance issues. She doesn't appear to be under genjutsu even though she let Hinata in so easily. This whole morning to afternoon is off as dozens of ways already. Cut the bullshit. What did you do to her? She hisses. Hinata blinks. You make Shizune worry so much that it can't be good for her health. A mix of a low dose of lorazepam, passion flower, and chamomile made her loosen up. Tsunade is up and out of her chair before she can even finish, hands rushing for her throat only to notice the bruises already there. A constellation of purples from an earlier attack. Hinata steps back. Shizune fought me on taking said medicine, of course. She does have more experience than me when it comes to dealing with these kinds of things after all. Taunton even nipped at my ankles too. Since she already knew from yesterday that I don't mean you both any harm, she let down her guard some when I picked up Taunton and rolled over these trays of food. I fed her some scraps from the festival grounds and Shizune saw that she was fine. She holds up an empty syringe then, Tsunade taking in her blank smile. When you passed Taunton back, you injected her in her wrist. She guesses. Hinata nods. It will wear off by evening. None of the food here is drugged. Tsunade laughs dryly. A little too late to believe you on that. Pearl softens, nods to her necklace. That necklace is from the first Hokage, correct? Your grandfather. Hazel clouds, clenching her teeth while grasping at it. Yes. Is that why you're here? Hinata hums. Not necessarily. That means your grandmother was Mito Uzumaki. She scoots her chair closer to the table, glimmer shining anew in her eyes. The Uzumaki clan, that's why I'm here, Lady Tsunade. Can you tell me more about them? Naruto and Jiraiya Kazunansen Northern Springs and Marsh. Evening settles over the mountains, fireflies drifting up in neon yellows and greens amid the steam. Jiraiya's figure goes in and out of view, coming nightfall and surrounding forests making him hard to keep track of. Pervy sage, just how far we are going up, no. Stop moving so fast. Naruto groans out from somewhere behind him. All the sweat he got off of him in the springs is coming right back. Jiraiya chuckles. Not much longer. Your muscles shouldn't be that sore after that dip we had in the springs, kid. Naruto simply sighs, bumps into Jiraiya's back as he finally comes to a stop, turns around to look at him. Tonight, you're gonna start taking your first steps towards becoming a man among toads. Naruto's features contort, Jiraiya holding up a hand. Don't say anything weird or go running back to tell Hinata about this later. He warns. Naruto grins cheekily. No promises. The waters here are ankle deep, thick with reeds and mud. Jiraiya places a small bottle of toad oil onto the closest rock jutting out. Relying on clones alone and the Rasengan won't be enough based on the people I've seen following us around these parts. So, I'm gonna train you in more toad-related jutsu. Naruto stiffens in place. Who's tracking me? Jiraiya waves up a hand. Nothing for you to worry about, kid. Still, for the Akatsuki to be moving this close to Konoha and the Land of Fire in general isn't a good sign. He places 2 fingers at his mouth. Gammyuden Shoten, toad oil mud shot. Don't overthink it. Build pressure in the chest, focus chakra into the throat, then spit. Naruto sucks in a breath too fast, spits out a glob of that he hurriedly wipes away before it can land on his jacket. He lips turn in disgust. That might have had the ramen I ate for lunch in that. Jiraiya chuckles. Try again. I want to see if you can at least hit this rock from your current position. Naruto nods, concentrates again as he instructed. And Jiraiya meanwhile moves back against the trees, eyes narrowing towards where moonlight's shadows end. I won't let you take Naruto without a fight. He warns. A razor-sharp grin peers back at him from the dark. Itachi. It's 2-on-1. We can easily chop off the boy's legs to keep him from running and bring him back to base. Kisame steps forward only for Itachi to hold up a hand, low croak of toads surrounding them from the ground to the trees. No. Another time. They disappear into the forestry just as they came, Jiraiya returning back to Naruto's side with a sigh. He still knows basically nothing about who each of the Akatsuki's members are or their abilities. Except that they're all missing nin and need every biju for some type of goal. None of my spies have been able to break through this impenetrable wall they have. I don't even know if I can rely on anything Itachi could or has passed along in the network now that Sarutobi-sensei has passed. The second spit shot lands at Jiraiya's feet, breaking him from his musings. Naruto side-eyes him. Who were those guys? Jiraiya shakes his head before sighing as his stare sharpens. Itachi and Kisame. Two Akatsuki members targeting you for the Nine Tails. Itachi as in Sasuke's brother. Naruto realizes. Jiraiya pats at his shoulders before he can begin to dwell on it. Don't worry about them. I want you to get this toad shot down before tomorrow, alright? I gotta add more water to this. Naruto swishes. An hour later, the blast lands. Jiraiya looks over the result. A small indent formed towards the center of the rock. He beams proudly, ruffles at his hair. Good. You're on your way, kid. And just in time for your next lesson, toad skin armor. He demonstrates coating himself fully in mud and oil, lowers his body to the ground as Naruto follows his actions. This one is more for reconnaissance and keeping yourself hidden from the enemy. Also great for protecting your skin from friction. Jiraiya relates, moving back down the way they came. Where are we going? This isn't the way back to the hotel. Naruto questions only to get hushed. Use your head, kid. Geez, we're putting the toad armor into action to see if Tsunade is at the springs. Naruto blanches. I don't wanna see that old hag naked. I've already seen what she can do when just slightly annoyed. Does pervy sage not care about his life? Jiraiya chuckles as Naruto prepares to slink away. Hinata might be with her. Naruto pauses, turns back to him. Then she'll need protecting from whatever you plan to do. They slowly trek through the dark, Naruto considering a sudden thought. Hinata has the Byakugan. Can't that detect us even with this toad armor? Jiraiya hums. I doubt Hinata will care if you try to peek at her, Naruto. He considers. Maybe. We'll figure that out if the situation arises. Tsunade and Hinata Kazunansen Northern Springs. I don't have much in the way of stories or intel to give you regarding the Uzumaki. Much of Uzushiyogakure's history has been lost to time. You should be trying to relax after all that practicing earlier. This is a hot spring, not an interrogation session, right? Tsunade yawns. Not that Hinata will let this subject go, has brought it up all day. She rests across from her, polite smile cracking before she fixes it back in place. Hinata sighs, rolls her shoulders. Her gaze turns skyward, white stars flickering awake in the dark. I am relaxed. You don't have to lie to me if you're not comfortable telling me. It's for Naruto's sake is why I'm asking. You and Jiraiya both knew his parents. He could benefit from learning. Tsunade covers her mouth. Ah, so you dug into Naruto's past too. That shouldn't surprise me. Hinata smiles beneath her fingers. Of course I did. It's important to know these things as his future wife. Tsunade slides back to her original spot, slowly sips at her sake. I didn't think I'd ever meet a child who reminds me of Orochimaru's habits. She sets her glass down by the rocks. Look, why do I need to tell you these things anyways? Jiraiya has told me all about you. How you've even attacked some of his spies, messing up his network temporarily. You have a cruel streak and you aren't doing a good job of controlling, especially when it comes to even Konoha's future allies. Hinata squirms, each word a barb, though she doesn't look away. Did you ever consider that those spies of his gave him intel that would protect you, Naruto, and your family? Or that you could have formed a proper connection with Tsuna's Jinchuriki and siblings instead of holding a grudge? Hinata reddens down to her shoulders, pauses for a moment looking down. No, I sincerely didn't. I know my apologies won't matter now if I saw either of them again. Tsunade scoffs. Think before acting next time. You're probably going to at least run into Sand siblings again. But then she goes quiet for so long that Tsunade nearly wonders if she has no answer for her other question until she full-on scowls. Obviously because I want Naruto to get stronger. Why shouldn't he know about Fuinjutsu, water release techniques that only those in Uzushiogakure used? Konoha covers up so much from him and he'll need to know how to protect himself if stronger enemies attempt to come for him. Tsunade chuckles at the edge in her tone. You're included in those people keeping things from him, don't forget. Why haven't you told him what you know? Hinata laughs dryly in return. I will. The right opportunity simply hasn't arisen yet. They both go quiet then, Hinata abruptly twisting her head to the right. Byakugan active. Naruto came to peek at me. Wait, with Jiraiya too. Tsunade cracks her knuckles, rises to a standing position wrapping a towel around herself. She points a finger at her before Hinata can move as well. No. You wait here, I'll deal with those two. Still, Hinata rises with her. Hold on, I'll deal with Naruto. Tsunade makes a point to grab at a sharp boulder, tosses it like a toy straight for Jiraiya's position, making him jolt from his hiding spot. It's bad enough to have this stupid toad bracelet on me, you're not getting away with peeping at me. 2. Jiraiya weaves between the barrage of rocks, immediately holds up his hands defensively. Hey, stop jumping to conclusions. I was just teaching the kid here some toad-related jutsu further up in the mountains. We were heading back down and didn't realize other people were here at the springs this high up. His notebook plops to the ground between them, loosened from his hiding spot in his sleeves. Yeah, your notepad there begs to differ. Tsunade blows out a breath, lightning crackling into her fingers. The wind picks up around them into a gust, points the burst of energy straight for Jiraiya. Lightning release, downburst thunder bow. She punches at the air in rapid succession, pressurized into the shape of an archer's bow, mixing wind and lightning. Jiraiya leaps for the higher trees, apologies falling away as Tsunade's electricity slams at his back. Hinata jabs Naruto out of his hiding spot behind the rocks, shakes her head at leaves and dirt twisted amid his blonde locks. You should know better. Jiraiya always gets caught. Naruto squirms, avoids her gaze. It was Pervy Sage's idea, honest. She flicks at his head, hard enough to leave a small indent. Oh, I know. There's nobody else here that you would want to look at besides me, right? Naruto nods, flicks her head back. Of course not. Geez, I haven't forgotten how old Granny Tsunade truly is. Sasuke Konoha, Kakashi's home. He swallows back, heat curling at his throat. Sorry Sasuke, I won't be able to go as long as I thought I would today. Kakashi is never early for their training, especially to say they would need to cut it short when normally he's able to last until sunset. He's keeping something from me. Sasuke shakes out his tingling nerves, forces himself to pick up his pace to head to his place. He hadn't been feeling well enough to have their usual afternoon sparring session all of this week so far via one of his ninja hounds updating him. He retightens the thermos of soup, considers a new thought. If he's sick, he would just outright say so, wouldn't he? What could be going or that happened to him he can't directly tell him about? He quiets his footsteps, sucks in a breath, crouching to a low position near his window. The stones he brought along will be his substitution if worse comes to worse, leaning his ear to the wall. Maybe his odd behavior is just for a private meeting with the other Jonin sensei, it sounds like. Or he truly is just not feeling well and needs to take a few days of rest. Well, either way I'm going to find out soon enough. Near his door he hears the shuffle of footsteps, crackle of voices coming through. No, he's a master at genjutsu. He easily broke out of it before I even realized what was happening. He gave Asuma trouble too. Kurenai states softly, lips pursed. Hey now everyone, let's not be so down in the dumps. I know Kakashi here won't let this little incident set him back. Not my internal rival. In a few days Kakashi, you'll be running morning laps with me around the village like usual. Guy chimes out. Aoba clears his throat before Kakashi can reject that statement. Anyways, the bigger concern at hand is dealing with Itachi and whoever that was with him. For him to be back in Konoha so soon after Lord Third's death must mean he's come for Sasuke. Sasuke bristles, moves back from the wall as if scalded. Itachi is back in the village. Why? Kakashi sits up slowly with a grunt. Not for Sasuke, for Naruto. For the tailed beast he holds. Genma sighs. We need to warn Master Jiraiya then if we haven't already. They're on the road right now looking for Tsunade, aren't they? There's a chance they'll run into them. Kurenai waves up a hand. Already done. He should have received the messenger bird yesterday or the day before. Naruto's in danger. He went off with that strange old guy to find a new Hokage and Hinata's with them too. Sasuke clicks his tongue. Nausea digs and claws its way up his chest, leaving a trail of acid. He blinks and he's 7 again. That fateful night, the smell of iron in the air, rivers of scarlet surrounding him. His nails scrape against the wall, gaining all of the Jonin's attention, stumbles back, activating the substitution too late. The thermos topples, soup smashing against the wall, spraying broth and noodles in a goopy mix of yellow. Shit, Sasuke was here. He hears Aoba's voice ring out, keeps running back for the Uchiha district to get ready. If Itachi's already on their trail, he has no time to waste. Sakura and Ino Yamanaka flower shop. I'm not lying. I saw Sasuke running out of the village gates in a hurry. He had tools practically falling out of his backpack. I didn't even get a chance to ask him what was wrong or what had him in such a rush. Sakura sighs, leans her head against her cheek. Normally the smells of lavenders, tulips, and hydrangeas would calm her, fingers brushing at lilac petals doing nothing to ease this growing pit in her chest. Sunlight heats the countertops and shelves, Ino finally turning to face her after watering at the plants near the entrance. Your guess is as good as mine, forehead. What are you doing here following me like a shadow instead of being with your team, huh? Are Dog Boy and Bug Boy having another argument? Sakura shakes her head. Oh no, Kiba talks big, though is really silly once you get to know him. The other day, Akamaru and I were able to throw off his scent via a flower bomb attack. Oh, and Shino has been helping me with finding rare herbs that only his insects can reach in the deeper parts of the nearby forests. Huh, never thought I would hear Sakura complimenting her teammates considering how she ended up with them. Ino muses. At least Hinata's actions didn't stop Sakura from moving forward as a kunoichi. Even them sitting here having this conversation came about due to their current teachers. Forehead, you've been staring at that lily for nearly 10 minutes now. Are you planning to buy it or what? Ino questions behind her. Sakura grits her teeth, hands balling up until her fingers nearly match the color of her hair. What was that pig? Is that any way to talk to a paying customer? Ino looks around at the store, cobalt eyes darkening. What paying customer? Only you and I are in here, dummy. Sakura straightens her shoulders, grabs at the lily with enough force to nearly crack the pot and marches it forward for the checkout. I'm trying to find a flower that represents good luck or prosperity for a mission. Can you help with that or just insult me? Ino hums, sets aside the lily. Well, lilies are meant to represent innocence and purity. Good luck and prosperity are better represented with marigolds or peonies. Sakura reluctantly follows along as she directs them to head for the greenhouse, marvels at the array of pinks, yellows, and reds soon surrounding them. So, Kurenai-sensei sent you on this task? Ino questions over her shoulder. Sakura shrugs. Yeah, she wants me to start forming liquids out of the flowers so that I have ones that can be used for genjutsu and ones that can be used for poison. Hey, this is going to be like a weekly thing. Kind of like how much as Asuma-sensei comes here to buy bouquets for her after a successful assignment. Ino giggles. Did you know he always tries to pick shifts when I'm not here to do that? Dad said he gets all red in the face and says it's for some party or a family member when not to be morbid, but most of his family is gone. Sakura feels herself. Grin as well. Yes. And then Kurenai pretends we can't smell the lingering tobacco and roses on her. A grin curves at Sakura's lips and she sets down an orchid, Ino smirking back. What? Got a new bit of juicy gossip. Sakura nods. Kurenai-sensei feigned some type of cough to cut our training short earlier today. However, I saw her heading off with Asuma-sensei to one of the residential districts after getting some tea together. It could be for another afternoon date or maybe visiting another jonin, I don't know why they try to hide it. Ino huffs. Ah, and Asuma-sensei said it was for a meeting. That liar. I'm hiding his pack of cigarettes the next time we have formation training. Sakura leans her head against her palm. I hope everything's okay. I've never seen Sasuke look so stressed. Hey, this is Sasuke we're talking about. The real trouble is if it's something involving Naruto and Hinata. Sakura bites at her lip. Wanna spar again later after you close up shop? She suggests studying the palms of her hands. The best way to get stronger and be a reliable ally to Sasuke is to train until new calluses form over these old ones. Ino shrugs. Yeah, plus we can use it as an excuse to check out that new mochi shop you've been eyeing. Anything to get dad off my back on me not training enough. Sakura nods along, thoughts swaying. Hinata's interests have never been towards Sasuke, she's sure that hasn't changed really since they've switched teams. If Sasuke's hurting or hurt, would she even try to help him? Naruto and Hinata Niwa Hotel balcony. Tomorrow is the night of Kazunansen's star weaving event. The end of the bet where she and Naruto must perform their abilities. Not only that, but Tsunade will also need to make up her mind on if she will join them in going back to Konoha to be the 5th Hokage or stay and help Orochimaru with his arms. I've burnt practically every tree up in those mountains to perfect the dance of Phoenix Palm Waltz. Hinata eyes the mountains now, streaks of ashes she's created now hidden by the dark. Her cheeks flush recalling the odd looks she's gotten from tourists and local alike coated in soot every evening, wiggles her toes against the breeze, shakes away the fragments of her dream. Don't fail, Hinata. Stop stumbling over your words. Even your sister can perform the gentle fist faster than you. She squeezes her eyes shut until father's voice disappears, jolts feeling a hand on her shoulder. Naruto. He chuckles, plops down beside her on the deck. I got the Rasengan down, plus the toad stuff pervy sage taught me. And I've seen you practicing with that dance thing with your arms swishing about. We both got this, you know. He demonstrates wiggling his hands about. Hinata chuckles, leans her head against his shoulder. Send more of that confidence my way, because mine is wavering. She murmurs into his side. Naruto intertwines their hands together in response, moonrise coating silver against the surrounding rooftops. He gestures with their joined hands to Jiraiya and Tsunade below, pair headed for one of Sake's stalls. I swear they head out for drinks every night. Naruto snorts. Hinata raises her head just a bit, activates her Byakugan. Her breath stills. There's a packet of powder in her right hand. Hidden from Jiraiya's view. From this far away, he won't hear her shouts, her warnings if he even would believe her. Pervy sage, don't stay out too late. Naruto yells out, voice falling away to the wind. Hinata sighs lightly. Jiraiya didn't even turn around if he heard them, watching as he leads Tsunade to a stand lit up in red and orange lights. Naruto huffs, glances to her. Think he heard me? No. She squeezes at his hand, sure he'll soon feel the rise of her pulse. A different type of countdown is coming. Hinata looks away first, swallows back, nerves forming in the pit of her stomach, a slow sinking pull. It's going to be a long night. Will Jiraiya taste the spiked drink? No, not with how good Tsunade is with medicine. How is she going to handle dealing with blood, with Orochimaru and Kabuto without help? Whatever tricks she has up her sleeves she plans to do alone, Shizune and Jiraiya none the wiser to her plans. Naruto observes them for a moment longer before they disappear into the crowds in search of rarer sakes, amber glow of their figures receding as various surrounding stalls pack up for the night. Naruto nudges at Hinata's side, grins as her features perk up at his attention. Hey, are you ready for your big presentation tomorrow night? And just like that, her expression stiffens like stone, pursing her lips. As ready as I'll ever be. Naruto chuckles, scratches at his cheek. Would it help to practice in front of me, you think? I wanna be the first to see your completed dance, you know. Butterflies flutter anew in her stomach, cheeks warming. Unlike Jiraiya, who's observed her lessons with nothing but blank looks or thinly veiled disinterest at wishing to check out the hot springs and anywhere else within Kazunansen, Naruto's eyes shine with curiosity. Father's voice slides about icily in her ears as she stands. Failure means all those little prickling comments of her worth as a kunoichi, as an unworthy heiress to the Hyuga clan are true. Don't tremble, stop looking down. She clicks her tongue as she lifts up her head, mind whirling back to Jiraiya 2 nights ago instead. I'm not sure why you're still out here with me if I'm so boring to you. Nothing's stopping you from returning back to the hotel and drinking yourself into a stupor there. Hinata grunts at Jiraiya's yawn behind her. That's the 3rd time he's done so in the last hour. Sweat builds under her arms and sides, mugginess of the night only further souring her mood. Moonlight fractures through the branches highlighting the waves of gray mist approaching in from the mountains. Jiraiya doesn't answer, rolls one finger in the air. Again, and this time without your extra snarky comments. Hinata grits her teeth, ignites her fingertips twisting herself in Jiraiya's direction instead. Despite his flushed cheeks and glazed eyes, he raises a brow. Don't even think about it, girlie. They gaze at each other for a long minute, Hinata grudgingly peering away first. The Phoenix Palm Waltz's ending crescendo is a burst of flame after flame for at least 2 minutes, forming a circular pattern around oneself before being exploded skyward like the very bird the dance is named after. And her timing keeps being off by mere seconds. Jiraiya sips at his can of beer, scratches at his chin. There's something you should know in case you desire to screw up my intel and plans in the future. No matter how much you may get under my skin, there's nothing you can find out about me, Hinata, that will hurt me. Hinata draws in a breath as heat washes over her, dissipates the embers encircling her. She curls at her toes to quell the urge to strike a fireball at him. She knows Jiraiya would dodge even in his drunken state. To her surprise, his dark eyes are clear when she fully glances to him. Like how Tsunade knows you're in love with her and that it's unrequited. She mentions softly. Jiraiya's laugh bounces through the forest, crushes his can, tossing it into the air. You always like to go for the jugular, huh girly? But yeah, like that. Any other deep dark secrets you know about me you want to bring up? Like how I didn't have the best scores at the academy. Revenue from by Make Out. Paradise series. That I lost Orochimaru as a friend and comrade when he chose to do his unethical experiments and search for immortality instead of staying the village. That we both know of Naruto's parents. My escapades around various brothels. Hinata blinks, coils her fingers until they're crimson considering what he hasn't mentioned. You forgot about your first book, The Tale of the Utterly Gutsy Shinobi. At this, Jiraiya sits up curiously. Huh, now where did she find a copy of that book? She giggles lightly at his expression. Don't look so stunned. When I research into a person, I do so thoroughly. Of course I would look into your first book series, even if it was a spectacular failure. The main character is named Naruto too after all. Jiraiya hums at that and for a brief moment, his eyes fog. Hey, that was just a name I came up with while eating ramen. And yet, Minato liked it so much that he named his own kid after it. I'm surprised Kushina didn't argue more against it when she liked to veto silly names he would come up with for various jutsu. Hinata frowns, smile slipping seeing this rare morose look from him. Jiraiya, if anything, is always smiling even when she annoys him. Loneliness and regrets seep into his tone looking down, coat the air between them. An owl takes off somewhere nearby, crackle of crickets and other nightbirds filling the quiet until she clears her throat. This is a story you should tell Naruto, not me. Jiraiya peers up at her again, stoic mask back in place. No, it's not important to his training and I don't want said knowledge to distract him when there are bigger enemies at hand to deal with. I assume you have the same reasons as me pretty much. We're both alike in that way, don't ya think? Hinata wrinkles her nose at the idea. No. Also, unlike the Naruto of your story, mine has my love and vice versa. Suyu really should have seen the signs of Renge's descent into madness and his betrayal of the village before it even happened. Jiraiya beams at her recollection of the main characters. Wow, you read it all the way through. And to think I thought you would burn anything I wrote. Hinata scoffs gently. You always assume the worst of me. Jiraiya shrugs, though his grin remains. Can you blame me knowing what you've done just in the past few months? Hinata begins her spin, cuts and times her motions in half with how much space is available on the balcony. Pink flushes at her cheeks catching a peek at Naruto's face, lilac to blue meeting for a flash of a second. She smiles, twists her body to the left remembering her answer to the Sannin. Of course I read it. It's not you and I who are similar Jiraiya, it's you and Naruto. Tsunade and Orochimaru Kazunansen me a gambling den. A game of Hanafuda. Are you sure about this knowing how you were with games of chance? Orochimaru questions. His smile is half clouded by smog and the flicker of bright lights coming from the pachinko parlors next door. It was easy enough to find where Kazunansen tucks away their gambling dens out of the way of any inspections that could be done by a passing officer or government representative from one of the neighboring villages. To their right and left Kabuto and Shizune observe them respectively, Shizune's eyes now bright and alert with Hinata's toxin out of her system. Tsunade catches her eye, hopes something in her expression doesn't give away how loud her pulse is starting to thud in her ears. Tsunade returns her gaze to Orochimaru dryly. You're the one coming to me with a request, don't forget, we're going to do things on my own terms. This shows me you're actually serious. And that includes matching the poison you've probably tainted our sake cups with. Orochimaru hums. Well, it's not without me offering you the return of your loved ones Nawaki and Dan. Tsunade holds up a hand, doesn't bother hiding the way her fists clench. Don't say their names. Orochimaru chuckles, gestures instead to their cups of liquor. Tsunade only takes a tiny sip before setting it back down. Done after only one glass. That sake was too sweet. Tsunade snorts despite Orochimaru gulping down his own in one easy swoop of his tongue. She realized her cup was compromised as soon as it touched her lips, feigned fully swallowing it. Good sake carries a bite, a clean burn that chases away hesitations and stress. The little bit that slid down went smoothly, deceptively gentle, like it didn't want to be noticed by her. Good. Despite all of his knowledge of various chemicals and toxins, ones of the flower variety probably rarely cross his mind or fully interest him. Ones like foxglove and oleander that can mess with both the heart and stomach even in the smallest dosages. Tsunade knows. Across the table Orochimaru watches her over the rim of his own cup, golden eyes half-lidded with interest. Hanafuda koi koi. I always thought it suited our old trio. Flowers, seasons, the inevitability of the passage of time. He muses softly. Tsunade taps a finger against the table harder than necessary. Save your poetry. I'll shuffle. She straightens, adjusts her hands so he can see she has no extra cards hidden in her sleeves. Orochimaru improvises with his snakes to deal the cards and hold them for him. 8 to each of them. 8 to the table. Tsunade scans her layout. Plum, pine, and willow. A promising spread. Her luck hums faintly in the back of her head like a distinct warning bell, a growing restlessness creeping across her skin. She plays a ribbon card. Orochimaru answers with a deer. They build slowly into a rhythm, cards slapping against wood. The silence between them thickens, Tsunade finally looking up at him. What's wrong, Tsunade? You're starting to look a bit pale. Orochimaru murmurs while laying down a cherry blossom. He gestures with his head to the rest of her untouched sake. Is the drink not to your liking? Though even as he speaks, his own features are pinched, breathing slightly labored. Her jaw tightens. No. Because you poisoned it. Can't even believe you'll win a match against me fair and square. Poison is such an inelegant word. He sighs. Think of it more as a reminder. Plus, whatever you've given me, isn't sitting well. The room tilts. Just subtly enough, and Tsunade hates him even more for that, even if he's in pain too. Heat glides over the growing goosebumps prickling her arms. Her hands still obey her, but her pulse is thundering too loud in her ears. She lays down a board completing Ino Shika Cho, drags the cards to her side. Koi, she declares sharply. Orochimaru smiles. Still gambling even when you know the odds. He sits back in his seat, blood splashing across the table, cards soaked scarlet. Tsunade freezes. This isn't real, calm down. She relaxes her breathing. Even with that little bit of poison it worked so fast, geared to not be fatal. Specifically made to seep into her senses, into memory. Orochimaru spits up a goblet of blood, foam seeming to melt at the table. Red droplets slither up out of the wood to join it, bloom across a plum card, then the crane. Her breath hitches, balls her hands into fists before the trembling becomes visible. A coppery scent mixes with the lingering smoke clawing up her throat, haze shifting into the shapes of the dead. She smashes one hand to the table creating a wave of cracks. Orochimaru. Stop. He laughs hoarsely in return. What? It's not fair to harm me and not have me do something about it. Besides, this is the best part. Her eyes track as he places the sake cup card down. Strange for a medic to become so queasy at the thought of blood. To think you were one of the ones who pioneered medics being on 3-man teams, and yet you yourself can no longer stand even the smell or sight of the liquid. Orochimaru chortles. A sake cup in the moon. Tsukimi Zyke. Tsunade grits her teeth, skin crawling now as if it's no longer hers. No more. Her luck twists towards violence. She flicks a finger out, Orochimaru's cup exploding by his hand. Lightning release. Tunnel. Electricity erupts across the table, sinking it, cards scattering like petals as Tsunade surges to her feet. Her knee slams into Orochimaru's chest, launching him through the wall into a rain of splintered wood and brick. She gives follow to outside, Orochimaru skidded across cement and mud, shedding his skin. You couldn't even play fair in a simple game of cards. She snarls. Orochimaru rolls his neck in return, snaps it back into place. Fear makes legends careless. This was an opportunity to break your hemophobia. His snakes lunge forward. Tsunade catches one, tears it apart. She swallows back a gasp as its blood sprays across her hands, stomps away the ones about to curl around her feet. Earth release. Fissure. Still, Orochimaru seizes the opening at her, slowing down, Tsunade leaping back as a new shadow blankets his figure. Hey, you two can't be having fun without me. Jiraiya. Tsunade frowns. A toad slams down between them, Jiraiya pausing as Tsunade peers up at him. Muddy, soaked, slimy, but standing somehow. He jumps down to her not without stumbling, and Tsunade sees then her drug isn't fully out of his system from his glazed eyes, sheen of sweat beading his forehead. Ah, do you know how long it took me to get through this damn gambling den even with that tracker on you? Now, just breathe. You're poisoned some, not dying. Look at me, I'm doing fine despite whatever you gave me. We got this. Tsunade blinks before her eyes harden. That drug should have knocked you out for days. Jiraiya waves away the idea, points a finger at Orochimaru. You always seem to find a way to cheat at whatever you're doing. He sneers. Orochimaru retracts his snakes, assesses the scene. Kabuto has been delayed by Shizune or potentially something else. A stabbing ache runs down his arms, Kabuto's medicine wearing off. Jiraiya, you arrived just in time. Tsunade was about to lose. He purrs. Tsunade steps forward before Jiraiya can form a retort, wipes her bloodied hands on her pants. She leaps up over the crevice to meet Orochimaru eye to eye, one hand wrapping at his neck before he can move back. Her fist drives him into a jagged edge of earth, body sinking down. Orochimaru withers just briefly, enough for Tsunade to grabs at his arms, ready to rip them cleanly off. I will never let one of your illusions mess with me again. Orochimaru's eyes gleam at her from within the dark before shedding his skin once more. So you say. I suppose this was all just an elaborate game to you too. He melts back into the shadows in retreat, laughter echoing faintly. Jiraiya exhales shakily as Tsunade climbs her way back up. You okay? Tsunade peers down at the scattered Hanafuda cards, torn and ruined now before clenching her fists. Where are the brats? Jiraiya airily points back in Niwa Hotel's direction. They saw us leave, though didn't give follow oddly enough. However, I assume they'll be awake when we get back to the room. Tsunade rubs at her head, takes in the night sky. Tomorrow already creeps in on the horizon, a milky mix of pink and violet hues. Shizune nearly slams into her side, looks her up and down. Are you all right? Oh, I knew this was a bad idea, my lady. Why would you even think Orochimaru wouldn't cheat? Shizune bemoans, huffs when Tsunade simply checks her over, ignoring everything she's said. Tsunade hums, lets Shizune fret over her for once. I think I hate gambling now. Jiraiya snorts. Liar. Tsunade feels a tiny smile come on, Jiraiya noticing it before she can cover it. She coughs, helps him before he can topple over while Shizune moves for his opposite side. Come on, let's check and make sure those brats aren't in trouble. Does this mean you'll return back to the village with us? Jiraiya pounces. Tsunade flicks a bruise to his shoulder. Maybe if the kids impress me with their performances. Somehow, two brats have become three. The pair are hovering over a third boy in the bed, Hinata's lips pursed in concentration, bracing and wrapping his right leg in towels to keep it still. Pearl eyes shoot up hearing the door click open, relaxes her Byakugan as she takes them in. Naruto instantly hops from the bed to his feet, races forward to grab at Tsunade's arm. Oi, pervy sage, granny, you're just in time. Sasuke passed out and we can't wake him up. Naruto, Hinata, and Sasuke Niwa Hotel 2 hours earlier. You're in danger, moron. Sasuke grits his teeth as hearing the cracks in his voice, fights against dark spots filling his vision. Hinata focuses more on his bruises than his words, a gash as long as ruler on the side of his right leg. She guides him to sit despite him wanting to rush out to find wherever Jiraiya and Tsunade have gone. Itachi's words hum in his ears, nausea climbing up his throat once more. The Jonin weren't lying. Itachi weaves through the dark of the forest akin to an apparition, Akatsuki robe swaying only slightly in the breeze. His heart plummets as his crows surround the terrain, take flight into the coming sunset. He came here with no plan, no idea how exactly to face the sibling he once idolized, the very reason behind so many sleepless nights he's had. I don't know what he wants with Naruto, but I have to find a way to slow him down. Sasuke decides. And the only way to do that is to take advantage of Kazunansen's heated terrain. Fire release, Inferno barrage. Itachi's gaze turns in his direction just as the first blaze approaches, Kisame stepping in front of him forming a blanket of rain. Sasuke jolts backwards, Kisame catching him by the leg. His nails burrow into his flesh, holds in a yelp putting a blaze of fire between them to no avail. He rolls away into a thicket of bush, Kisame sniffing the air following his growing trail of blood. Oh, it's not the boy from earlier we need to capture. Isn't this your kid brother Itachi? What do you wanna do with him? He taunts, grins revealing a row of razor-sharp teeth. He moves aside as Itachi approaches, chuckles when his fingers curl at Sasuke's neck. Weak. What made you think you were strong enough to beat me in your current state, Sasuke? Even as my little brother, you've fallen so far behind me. Flames sputter in his mouth as Itachi forces him to gaze into crimson, night of the massacre replacing the forest stilling him in place. Sasuke fists at the sheets, Naruto pressing another cool cloth to his head. Hinata cleans out his wound with saline, skin surrounded it only slightly less inflamed than before. Geez, he's burning up. Hinata, do we have anything that can help with his fever? Hinata reaches for their first aid kit once more, scowls at only a mix of bandages, creams, and pills Sasuke can't ingest in his current state. Help sit him up. I can try and make a tea with the ginger and chamomile I have. She instructs while moving for the kitchen. Her fingers tremble filling the kettle, shakes away sweat forming at the palms of her hands. Static fills her ears mixing with the tempo of her heartbeat, stretching and unstretching her fingers of a rising numbness. Her chest refuses to expand to catch up with her movements, breath stuttering in sharp, useless bursts. Relax. At least stabilize him until Jiraiya hopefully returns with Tsunade. She can do that. Even if Sasuke's condition is beyond the rudimentary skills and exercises they were taught at the academy. His injuries too extend past what she's managed to gather from just trying to observe the Hyuga clan's private doctors and nurses. Still, I can't stand by and watch him be in such a state. Hinata returns to his side, dribbles droplets of tea into Sasuke's mouth. He thrashes away from her in Naruto's hold, Hinata considering grinding up one of the pills into a powder when the door clicks open behind them. Pervy sage, Granny. Naruto cheers in relief. Tsunade takes one look at Sasuke's state and sighs. I swear it's one damn thing after another with you brats. She grunts, Hinata happily relinquishing her post to let her look him over. Tsunade does a quick head-to-toe assessment, gaze lingering on the curse seal to Sasuke's neck. Not surprising Orochimaru would be interested in an Uchiha for their Sharingan. I've never seen a seal like this before though. She eyes Jiraiya who discreetly shakes his head. It's not one he knows how to handle either. She moves on considering it looks like someone has put some suppression barrier on it, points to his leg. His bandages are a bit too tight, you don't want to cut off circulation. Otherwise, good job with cleaning the wound. It may not even need stitches with the ointment and paste you've covered it with. Hinata's trembling calms just a bit hearing that as she follows her directions, though not enough for Tsunade to not notice it. She taps her fingers lightly near her wrists getting her attention. Do you have interest in going into the medical field? Hinata pauses, considering. Yes and no. I want to find ways to use the Byakugan, my clan's abilities outside of just being a shinobi. You'd make a fine assassin or one for infiltrating with these 180 changes in personality. Hinata blows out a breath. I'm tired. You and me both. Tsunade remarks back dryly, closes up the open wound then heals at Sasuke's lingering bruises and burn marks with ease. She steps back with a yawn, takes in the coming sunrise through the blinds with a stretch of her hands. Alright, nobody wakes me up for the next 12 hours or so. I'll see you all for the star weaving event thing tonight. Jiraiya scoops up the pair before Naruto can retort Sasuke isn't even awake, salutes Tsunade in return. It starts at 8 p.m. Don't be late. Naruto and Hinata, Jiraiya and Tsunade Kazunansen Center Square. Everyone, thank you all for coming to our 20th annual star weaving event. Every year for the past 20 years since this village's founding, we weave silver threads from the silkworms that populate the trees in the mountains further north and east. Tonight, as always, we come together to remember all we've lost, gained, and the knowledge hope we'll take with us to have another successful harvest season and festival next year. Chief Eijiro announces to the crowd. He nods for Naruto to join him on stage. Hinata squeezes at his hand, whispers encouragement before he steps away. While it's not unprecedented for us to occasionally have cloudy weather for the night of star weaving, we're lucky to have a guest here from the neighboring region of Konoha to help clear the skies up some. Welcome, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto beams at the cheers and claps for him, the opposite of what he normally faces at home, raises up a hand to create 2 shadow clones. Alright, it's gonna get a bit windy around here, you know. Make sure nothing you own gets blown away. He turns his gaze skyward, nods to both his clones. Rasengan. A swirl of chakra forms in the palm of his right hand, clones adding a surge of wind to wrap around it. The Rasengan screeches as he drills it upward, leaving his hand, clouds above twisting, unraveling like strings into thin gray streaks scattering across the sky. A pale moon emerges out of the blanket, stars glittering awake. Jiraiya whistles as he watches the vortex dissipate, nudges Tsunade. Not bad, right? Tsunade bites at her yakitori, pokes the skewer at Jiraiya's shoulder in return. He really buckled down for this training. Hinata heads up on the platform next with a line of fire dancers, opalescent, roaming the crowd until they land on her. Her smile widens just a fraction, bows just slightly in greeting. She's donned the vermilion and gold silks of Kazunansen's best performers, ignites her fingers in a single swoosh. Tonight, I will perform the Phoenix Palm Waltz. She calls out. The stage is hers. Fire circles around her, grow in rapid succession as 2 dancers on her left and right swoop and twirl under the fire, forming a ribbon of scarlet behind her. Hinata reaches the center, gathers the fire into a spin about her feet and up her legs before launching the flames skyward into the shape of the legendary bird. Hinata's gaze switches to Naruto, this time amid the cheers, Jiraiya and Tsunade clapping for them both. You always did have a knack for bringing out kids' strengths. Tsunade muses, watching the pair from afar. Jiraiya shakes his head. It helps when they have the right motivation is all. Eijiro passes out silver threads connected to paper, Tsunade surprising herself that she actually has anything she wants to write down. She peeks over Naruto and Hinata's shoulders, laughs softly to herself at their respective goals. Become Hokage, spend time with Hinata at Ichiraku's. Oh, and I have to try and eat a better variety of food so Hinata can't say I only eat ramen. Have a family with Naruto and get stronger together. I also must break the Hyuga's clan's tradition of placing seals on the branch family. Spar with Hanabi more during my break periods. Jiraiya's is more of the same too, with only a touch of seriousness. Visit hot springs one more time before we go. I must do research in Yugakure and the nearby land of ravines to make sure my Makeout series covers a variety of locations to appeal to my readers' sponsors. Collect more intel on that certain group. She forces her gaze back to her own paper, twirls at her pen before writing down the first thing that comes to mind. Try some unique sakes and my luck at one more pachinko parlor before we go. Visit Dan and Naoki's graves at the cemetery once we get back home. See how things are running at Konoha's major clinics and main hospital. Tsunade reads it over, takes in the stars, then tacks on a messier scrawl towards the end. Do my best as the 5th Hokage. Sasuke and Shizune Niwa Hotel. Taunton oinks when Sasuke's eyes drift open in the dark. Shizune jolts from her chair, moves out her arms for Sasuke to stay in bed. Hold on, you're in no position to be moving around so soon after all those injuries you sustained. She gently orders. Sasuke looks around slowly, tastes spit and blood on his tongue as his mind whirls back to hours before. Itachi. The massacre. You're still too weak, little brother. Bile singes his throat, Shizune hurriedly reaching for a bucket and towel. Sasuke coughs, clenches his eyes shut as he pushes away everything that's come up. Shizune passes him a warm cloth he quietly accepts with a thanks, vision starting to blur once more. Where's everyone else? He rasps out as he lays back down. Shizune points to outside. They're at the star weaving event. From what I can see from this position, looks like Naruto has just gone up on stage to help clear away some of the cloud cover. Sasuke shifts up off his pillows just in time to see the burst of wind and chakra. He rockets up towards the sky, clouds breaking, allowing the stars to reclaim the night. He gapes at the display, wonders what it would have looked like up close. Impressive. Shizune states aloud his thoughts. Sasuke slowly nods his agreement. He makes out the blonde dot that power came from, stomach tightening. Naruto's catching up with him again, maybe has surpassed him now. Second stretch, sticky and slow. That was really Naruto, huh? Why am I here? Hinata barely restrains an open frown. No, she knows why. Her gaze wanders to outside, low afternoon sunlight scraping across the desk and their figures only increasing her pulse. She'd figured Tsunade would spend the first few days of her new title as 5th Hokage celebrating with sakes, wines, and all-night binges at the pachinko slots of Konoha's red light district. But alas, one of the first things she did after last night's fireworks and festivities was call her into her office to discuss her previous behavior. Amber eyes study her intently before flickering to her right wrist. Inoichi stands to her left, ever the silent guard. He already probed her memories twice over now, confirmed everything Tsunade read about her profile during her short time on Team 8 and now since joining Team 7. Hinata nods in Inoichi's direction. Does he truly need to be here for this? Tsunade shrugs at her question. We can do this now or this evening, your choice Hinata. Hinata clicks her tongue, reluctantly holds her hand out. Pearl eyes watch as Tsunade ignites her index finger, presses it straight down on her radial artery. A yelp claws its way up out of her mouth, gasping and curling at her toes. Slowly, a crescent moon and sun-shaped scar forms on her skin. Tears prickle at her eyes. She doesn't bother blinking away, bites her lips instead until a wave of copper hits her tongue. Now if she creates so-called trouble in the daytime, her chest will coil with the sensation of flames. And if at nightfall, it will be the sensation of ice pricking at her all over. Tsunade blows away the residual smoke, sighs. You know, I was really hoping Jiraiya had been lying or exaggerating all these things you've done before even fully starting out your career as a kunoichi. Hinata grits her teeth at the mention of the toad Sanin, swallows back nausea inching up her throat. Spots fill her eyes, everything in her wanting to jump from this table and scramble out of the office. She smiles as she rubs at the wound, accepting Tsunade's gauze and ointment, forces her gaze not to wander. I never killed anybody that I didn't need to. I just want to be with Naruto, is that so bad? Tsunade barks out a laugh, crosses her arms. You cannot blackmail your superiors, mess with Jiraiya's spy network, and harm a fellow comrade and not expect to receive some form of punishment, Hinata. This is how I and any assigned Jonin to you will monitor you in case you decide to try and do any extreme options again in the future. Day or night, this seal will activate if you go against a specific order given to you by someone of higher rank. When you've proven you're not going to endanger your fellow comrades just for Naruto's sake, then this seal can be removed. Hinata stays quiet for a moment, nods slowly. This scar throbs in time with her heartbeat, burrows deep. The first strike of it activating hit like lightning, one she'll need to get used to. I'll need to be extra careful how I go about assignments. If I'm to ensure Naruto stays by my side. Did father agree to these terms as well? Tsunade blinks, then nods. He spoke with the Hyuga elders and agreed this was a better measure to implement versus any other options that would jeopardize your shinobi career. Ah, so I'm not as low as a branch member just yet then. Hinata muses. Though truthfully, it seems the Hyuga patriarch has had no idea what to do regarding his eldest daughter's changes. The coldness Hiyashi wanted out of her as the future heiress to the clan has only made her vicious towards them for implying they would stop her from seeing the one person that she cares about the most in the village outside her sister, Naruto. Cruelty birthed from perceived weaknesses she's shuddered away. And Tsunade softens just slightly seeing Hinata fidget, cheeks darkening under the pressure of her assessing stare. If I hadn't read her case file, this would feel like an extreme measure. Listen. You can come to me, Kakashi, and even Jiraiya despite how much you hate him if you're ever having a team or mission issue. Hinata blows out a breath. Alright. Her eyes roam back towards Inoichi. I have a personal feminine question I need to ask Lady Tsunade, can you step out of the room for a moment please? Inoichi blanches, cheeks gaining a reddish hue, Tsunade waving him away with a nod that it's fine. As soon as he's out of earshot, Hinata leans forward while Tsunade merely arches a bow. Is this truly a question regarding your monthly cycle or perhaps for a seduction espionage assignment? Such subjects shouldn't be embarrassing to speak about as they're a part of life as a shinobi and being a woman. Oh no, I just wanted him out of the room is all. Hinata giggles. She shakes her head, laughs lightly recalling Inoichi's flustered expression. Ino's surely complained about her period around him enough times for him to know where she was going. Her fingers prickle, smoothing them out against her pants. Ah, but at least Ino's father probably helps her with the symptoms. Well, it would be nice to know if there's any special teas or herbal remedies that I could take to prevent cramps and headaches. What I truly wanted to ask you about is the meeting on Wednesday regarding the health seminar. Tsunade shrugs. What about it? Hinata points at herself. Why was I chosen from my team? Tsunade chuckles. Because of what I see you can do with the Byakugan outside the battlefield. You said you wanted to use the ability outside of fighting, and I'm curious enough to help make that happen. A member of each batch of graduates from the academy this year was handpicked by me personally to give them tutelage in medicine and strength. The first lessons begin Wednesday night sharply at 7 p.m. at Konoha's Central Library. I expect you to be attendance, got it? Hinata bows. I understand. Thank you for this opportunity. Tsunade nods, gets to a standing position. You're dismissed then. I expect great things out of you, Hinata. Within reason. Hinata smiles her agreement. Reason. Nothing is reasonable though when it comes to Naruto. Team 7 Ichirakus. Wow, so Granny picked you to pick up on more medical ninjutsu and stuff. That's great, you deserve an extra round of tonkatsu on me. Naruto cheers. Hinata giggles, flicks a noodle away from his chin. I'm already full. I don't need a sixth bowl, honest. Not that it stops Naruto from happily calling out to Tyuki and Ayame to fix up another bowl, scent of peppers, meats, onions, and broth filling the station once more. This isn't an honor so much as a way to watch me. A punishment. Hinata sighs, feels her smile crack. She thumbs at the scar absently before stopping herself, glances to Sasuke who's barely touched his first bowl. Kakashi-sensei eyes him quietly too, but he's at least managed to down half his bowl of beef ramen. Hinata nudges his shoulder gently. Are you still feeling sick? Sasuke goes rigid from the touch, obsidian snapping to her before calming himself. I'm fine, just had a big lunch earlier is all. Naruto and Hinata eye each other silently at the lie, Sasuke hopping from his seat while throwing down a wad of Ryo. Don't mind me, you two can continue with your date. I'm going to call it an early night. Naruto jumps from his seat, impedes his path before he can weave into the traffic of nightfall. He's been grumpy and irritable ever since they returned from Kazunansen, refused to participate in any of the carnival games to celebrate Granny's inauguration or even watch the explosion of fireworks over the Hokage Tower with them. Hey, what's with you? If you're feeling shitty, you don't have to deal with it alone, you know. Sasuke regards him flatly, blinks and sees that night again thrum to life. That burst of wind and chakra, sky cleared of clouds. It's pathetic how weak you've become, Sasuke. He roughly pushes Naruto aside. Stop bugging me, moron. Naruto twists and grabs at his jacket. Bastard, stop. Hinata hops from her seat feeling dozens of wary eyes start to gaze in their direction, tugs on Naruto's shirt. Let's not cause trouble. Sasuke, we'll drop by with leftovers later. It's bad to only nibble on snacks here and there. She studies his sunken cheeks, the dark bags beneath his eyes. And then his gaze crosses to her wrist and his snicker blooms ice through her veins. Yeah, some of us have already burned too many bridges doing that. He turns to go before either Naruto and Hinata can respond, Kakashi patting at both their shoulders. Let Sasuke be for now. I'll talk to him when I get a free moment. Hinata deflates first. Sensei is probably the only one that can reach whatever is clouding Sasuke's mind as of late. Naruto snorts under his breath as he moves back inside, not going to let Sasuke or his ramen go to waste. Fine. Yeah, thought we were past all that moody behavior by now. Hinata moves to give follow only for Kakashi to squeeze at her shoulder, regaining her attention. Your new mark suits you. Hinata bristles, pushes her hands into her jacket. I needed to ask Lady Tsunade what do I in the event that it's a Konoha shinobi who attacks me. I have to have some way to protect myself if they're under a genjutsu. Kakashi follows her gaze towards Sasuke's back. Tension still clogs the air, moonlight running against the pavement in splitting paths of silver, a reminder the night is still young. It's only meant to activate when you're straying too far from a command, don't forget. He murmurs. Hinata's brows furrow. And when that moment comes. You had to make such choices too when you were around our age. To stick to the rules or break them, so to speak. Obito's words, not mine. He burrows the name and memory down. Kakashi sighs patiently, studies the murkiness and upset in her eyes. Then I'm sure you'll bite through the pain, figure out a way maybe to change the way the seal works. Hinata brightens just slightly at that, peeks at her scar once before sliding her jacket's sleeves back down. You're right. I won't let this be a setback. You don't let your porn addiction mess up your assignments after all. She nods to herself heading back inside, Kakashi rubbing at his head. I suppose she isn't feeling too bad if she can still poke at my habits. Sakura and Hinata Konoha Central Library. Goosebumps ignite her skin. Shino's beetle upon her neck emits an aroma of pine and sandalwood before the wave of nausea can build. Though still her stomach flips. Twice over at Hinata's presence in the left-hand corner of the library, gazing out the window. Ino waves her over before their eyes can meet, nods to Tenten and Shino already sitting towards the front. Bit odd only one guy was picked by Lady Tsunade and it's our resident bug boy. Sakura nudges her with a huff. Don't call Shino that. Besides, his insects can carry capsules of medicine and help clean out infections. I'm sure that caught Lady Tsunade's eye. She wants at least 1 or 2 members of each squad to be proficient in medical-related techniques. Ino snickers. What? Are you falling for him now and forgotten all about Sasuke's forehead? More for me then. Heat burns at Sakura's cheeks. As if pig. He's just my teammate. A sharp tap to the desk at the front gets everyone's attention, Tsunade clearing her throat. Before her is a collection of colorful vials, syringes, scalpels. Cloths cover a row of trays, light above her catching what appears to be a scale. Sakura sniffs the air, faint hint of sea salt. Fish. Tsunade tosses away the first cloth once she catches everyone's eye, revealing 5 pieces of brine fish most likely caught from the Nara River earlier in the day. We're going to start with the basics of dissection in pairs. Each of you will draw a number from this box beside me. This will start you on the foundations of basic anatomy and physiology. Once you all master this lesson, we'll move on simulation dummies and case studies you may experience out on the field. One at a time they draw a number, Sakura drawing out a 2. Ino draws a 3, Tenten's partner. Shino draws a 1, Tsunade gesturing he'll partner with her for this round. Sakura draws in a breath. That means, out on the battlefield, there's going to be plenty of times when you're uncomfortable. Find your partner and await further instructions at your table. It feels like Tsunade is giving that order directly at her, bites back any refute from spilling out. Hinata at least looks a bit sheepish by this turn of events too, reluctantly reveals her sun and crescent scar as Sakura plops into the seat opposite her. We match now, in a sense. Verdant eyes take in the fresh wound, managing a weak smile. She heard in passing through the marketplace that Lady Tsunade was doing a cleanup of sorts on unfinished business Lord Third never got the time to take care of. So Hinata's file got brought up too. Both you and your teammate will take turns identifying the major organs of your fish and practice chakra control on seeing if you can jumpstart any of its nerves. Pay attention to how deep you cut and how fast you move. Tsunade instructs. Would you like to go first? Hinata asks. Sakura shrugs, nods as she peels away the first layer revealing pink flesh. She pauses, noting up close now white spots along its gills and fins, bloated abdomen. There are other symptoms going on in these fish. Sakura realizes as Hinata points out its bulging eyes. I've seen this before at times in the koi fish in the garden, parasitic diseases that turned their scales dark as blood and left them lethargic or spinning in circles refusing pellets until they eventually passed. Sakura hums as she slides the scalpel along its stomach. Finding the source of the disease should be the first objective, right? Or maybe just to restart the heart. Hinata leans over, voice dropping to a whisper. I know this is a strange request, but could you talk to Sasuke? Sakura's gaze instantly flashes up, green pooling with a cold mist. About what? She barely manages to not make her voice a hiss, drops her scalpel from her hands. Hinata switches her attention between her and the brine. He's been acting a lot more colder and distant since we came back from Kazunansen. I think someone outside his teammates talking to him could maybe help. Sakura purses her lips. Hinata wouldn't suggest this if it weren't for a more selfish reason. And when she catches her eye again, sure enough there's a glimmer in them. Sasuke's mood has been like a storm cloud and it'd be nice for Naruto and I not to deal with it if possible. You know and care more about his interests than me and want to spend time with him, right? Sakura draws in a breath. I don't think there's much I could say to him that could improve however he's feeling. It's probably in relation to his brother. However, I can try maybe at his next checkup at the hospital. That's a week from today. Another new plan Lady Tsunade is in the throes of implementing to ensure mental well-being before specific assignments are given out no matter your age or rank. Hinata beams at that, nods. Okay, thank you. Her stare returns to studying any other incidental findings in the brine, healing at the minor cuts they've made. Quote. I'm really getting tired of his attitude, hopefully you can distract him some. Hinata muses absently. Sakura relaxes her shoulders, can only manage a half-smile in return. She'll try her best. Sasuke, Hinata, and Naruto Konoha Hospital, back gardens. 1 week goes by in a blur. Between gurneys and linens shuffled about, Hinata catches the flicker of black hair. Sasuke. Why is he following Naruto? He just finished with his physical too. She watches that shift in his expression again, crack of his knuckles and nose. He's planning for a fight somewhere nobody will interrupt. I need to block him somehow. She clicks her tongue. Sakura did her best, but food and light banter are the furthest things from Sasuke's mind right now. You can't beat him. Her stomach tenses, still she presses forward. Sasuke turns right and she follows. Stop following me. He grunts over his shoulder after he's made a dizzying turn of lefts and rights, taking them from the observation, and surgical wings all at once. They manage to avoid catching the ire of any of the staff, keep as close as they can to the walls to not be in the way. Hinata's Byakugan keeps track, snort escaping her. You first. Tell me why you're following Naruto. She moves even with his pace. The cafeteria is next, bypassing a man's crutches and a stack of blankets. Sasuke's gaze stays forward. It's none of your business. I need to test something out with him. Everything involving Naruto is my business. Hinata volleys back. Obsidian slides to her. Is it? One day he'll get tired or bored of you following him like a pathetic shadow. The words don't sting, Hinata giggling instead. Aren't you the one chasing your brother's shadow hopelessly? Sasuke stills in place. And her heartbeat hums in her ears, Sasuke's venomous mood now on her. Good. Naruto won't have to deal with his temper just yet. She calms her pace into a slow walk, chatter surrounding them turning to static. They head out the cafeteria's doors into the adjacent garden trails. The rains from earlier in the day have left the area eerily quiet, mud-slicked stones and tea-colored puddles surrounding the area. Sasuke stretches his fingers, lightning crackling through them. You've always been weak so you wouldn't understand this feeling, how frustrating it is to know that of all people. He grits out, stops himself balling his fists. But they both know what he was planning to say anyways. It's that annoying to you that Naruto is catching up to you in strength. When you've seen how much training and effort he's been putting in as well. Hinata questions softly. She studies his hands silently, seeing the lightning only burn hotter, poised to aim it at her. Ignites her fingers in return. Her scar pulses in warning. To attack Sasuke is to attack her own comrade. No matter the circumstances. A screech of wind picks up between them, burst of orange abruptly impeding her vision. Naruto grabs at both their hands, twisting hard until lightning and flame dissipate, scarlet burning on onyx. What the hell is wrong with you? What were you just about to do to Hinata? He growls. Sasuke blinks, attempts to retract his hand only for Naruto's nails to dig enough to draw blood, vice grip holding. Let me go, idiot. No. Explain yourself. Naruto presses. Sasuke scoffs. It's nothing. I'm not getting strong enough here and I'm starting to see that now. Naruto's brows furrow, Hinata stepping forward before he can say anything else. Naruto. Forget it. He's already bound to someone else now. Both of them peer at her. Naruto wrinkles his nose, questioning her silently. Sasuke's eyes only narrow. What do you mean? Hinata doesn't flinch at his tone, gaze steady, pale eyes luminous in fading light. Your chakra isn't yours alone anymore. There's another presence and power clinging to it. Thin, but deliberate. A lie would have been easier to dismiss. Of course she's noticed each time he's dipped into the curse seal's power. Sasuke's fingers curl, breaks from Naruto's hold with him distracted. Naruto peers between them both silently, frustrating an unease curling about his voice. Are you talking about that curse seal? Hinata nods, points to Sasuke's neck. The curse seal that Orochimaru placed upon him back in the Forest of Death. The more Sasuke calls on its power or dwells on it, the more Orochimaru seeps into him. Sasuke is not a part of our team anymore, at least not really. Naruto bristles, words cutting through the quiet. That's not true. Sasuke's still here in village. Hinata shrugs, pearl eyes flashing to him before back to Sasuke. He's standing here, though his mind is elsewhere. She corrects. Sasuke doesn't respond or argue to either of them, though his eyes tinge darker on her for all that she's silently watched with her clan's eyes, hardly pushes past them back for the Uchiha district. Naruto watches him go, jaw clenching. That foreign chakra tightens around him like a leash, Hinata sighing. Naruto nudges at her hand. I'll walk you back to the compound. She accepts his hand, thumb tracing on where his nails were briefly sharp, his calming pulse for some semblance of normalcy before today ends. In the coming dusk though they note 4 figures move out from the shadow and forest, head in the direction Sasuke went rooftop hopping. Hinata tracks them, waits, hopes a Jonin will eventually notice their presence. Naruto lingers outside the Hyuga gate, ignores the guard's sour looks squeezing Hinata's hand now. That was 4 guys, right? I'll take the long way home to figure out what I can on them. Hinata hums. They're connected to Orochimaru most likely. Be careful. Naruto grunts at that. It's Sasuke who needs to hear that, you know. I guess these guys wanna test Sasuke's abilities. Hinata nods, withholds her thoughts, masks her features so Naruto won't see. I don't care what they do to Sasuke. Thank you for listening. I do hope you guys enjoy. If you guys enjoyed this, what if you want a next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below and turn on the bell notifications, and also check out the other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.